Matt Jakes, the assistant principal here at Thompkins. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's live band concert. I was reminded, a few minutes ago that it's been 2.5 years since the last in-person concert here at Thompkins. So it's great to be back to in-person events. I'd like to thank you for coming out tonight to show your support for these students. I know they've worked very hard to prepare an outstanding concert for you here tonight. If you would just take a second to either silence or turn off your cell phones, please. We would greatly appreciate that. And now I would like to introduce our 7th and 8th grade bands under the direction of Mr. Keith Carney.
All right, good evening and welcome. As Mr. Jakes said so well, wow, we're really glad to be here with you tonight. As the pandemic has, presented so many challenges for all of us, these students had to kind of relearn how to do band. Normally, a band is seated like you see tonight, in semicircle rows, pretty close together. And when COVID hit, we had to change that. So they started rehearsing 6 feet apart, which is really far apart. And so with these are the 7th and 8th grade bands, about 40 apiece. So our classroom is the small gym, and we pretty much take up the entire small gym. There are so many challenges that students have to learn to navigate when they're that far apart, to play together. They kind of feel like they're playing on their own, so they have to learn to play out. They have to learn skills that really, most of the time we don't ask of students until high school when they're on a football field and spread 100 yards apart, and that's kind of the next level up. And these kids, at the drop of a hat, were asked to adjust and do that. And I am not meaning, I'm not overselling it to say I'm just so proud of them because it was so challenging to do and they handled it so well. In addition to that, I'm pretty much the sweetest, nicest teacher at all times. I hand out candy constantly. Of course, I'm kidding. I'm pretty tough to deal with. I'm sure you hear it at home. And for these kids to stay in and to stay with this and to stick with it is just phenomenal. And as I told them, because I am not good at sometimes reminding them of all the positive things, because I have my checklist of things to do, it's just how I'm wired. I really did say to them the other day, I am so proud of you for doing something this challenging and coming back and staying with it. So I really do want to speak that message tonight that I sincerely can tell you I am just so proud of them. And you hear it in their playing, they're just doing great. All right, you're not here to hear me talk, that's for sure. So next tune we're going to do is called Spring, and Spring is what we call programmatic music. So it's written about an idea. And the idea is obviously the season of spring, where the weather changes. You will hear some of the kind of serene days where spring hits and you're tired of winter and it feels really nice. You'll hear those storms that come in the music, through the bass drum, through some of the effects of the wind instruments. You'll hear raindrops from the flutes and from the percussion. So what we're trying to do with this piece is paint kind of a picture with notes of what spring might feel like. So here it is, spring. Remember to watch, please. minute or two, I'd like to do some announcements and recognize some people. Check one, there we go. As I get older, I write these things down so I don't ramble. Number one, thank you so much for supporting the students and being here. I know Mr. Farney's tough, but please stay in band, to, bringing in all those fees and making sure they have everything they need and getting that uniform. I appreciate it. We did a uniform redesign this year, and I'm very pleased with it. I think that looks really good, so I appreciate you purchasing a new polo shirt if you had one from an older sibling and working with me there. Thank you. This is the first live performance in about 2.5 years, so to give you a perspective on that, the 8th grade students, the last time they performed live was in March, right before contest, I believe. Is that true, guys? Did you play? Yes. Yep. And we actually shut down like the next week, so that concert was right before we had to close down. Our 7th graders, their last concert was when they played their beginning band concert in 5th grade, where they play like Whole Notes and Mary Had a Little Lamb, and hopefully it sounds good. And now you can hear the progress, right? So we've been working, they've been getting better, and I'm just so pleased with that. And this is truly kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing for students to wait 2.5 years and perform and to show off everything they learned in that time. So that's super cool. So I do want to recognize them. I could tell some of them were a little nervous because, we're out of practice. I mean, I almost felt like a first-year teacher again, thinking about performing live and all the things I have to do to be ready. So it's an exciting evening, and I know they are just so glad to play for you today. So students, thank you for hanging in there and doing your thing. I would like, the Evansville-Vanderburgh School Corporation has the middle school honors band. From all 10 middle school students audition and are selected to be in this group. And Thompkins has 21 students from this band that were selected, and that's just incredible. I'm so proud of them. It is Mr. Emmer, our Director of Fine Arts, has very high standards, and it's always very challenging to audition music, and they did great. So hey folks, if you are in honors, if you're a wind player, when I say go, you're going to stand up. If you're a percussionist, you're going to wave. Ready? Go. Absolutely. And, some numbers, 33% of the middle school honors band is from Thompkins Middle School. The only other school this year that was close was North Junior High, and they had maybe one more around the same, so we're just so thrilled of all the hard work they're putting into that. Next thing I'd like to recognize, there are some students who actually participated with the Central High School marching band this season. Marching band had a great year, went to semi-state. I believe they scored the highest maybe in a while. So proud of them. And boy, to step up to a high school level activity and to do it well, that takes a whole lot of commitment and a whole lot of courage. So I want to recognize those folks. Starting with our percussionist, and I was the drumline and the percussion instructor, and whatever intensity level I have for middle school, it's up about 30% for high school, and these kids survived it, so I want to congratulate them. And they did so well. Reese Underwood, Reese, wave at us. Reese played the snare drum, which in marching band is the center of all tempo. They set the time for the show. And we had some growing pains because Reese sure likes to speed up. Reese likes it exciting. He likes to get that tempo going. And that kind of became our inside joke there. But wow, what a responsibility for a middle school student performing at semi-state on the biggest stage we have for marching band. So proud of him. Tommy, you back there, waving at you. Tommy covered the marching bass drum part on Tom Tom. Same thing, this music is way harder than what they do in middle school, and so proud of him. Addison George and Emma McDaniel, can you stand up? That's really one of the fringe benefits is just getting to embarrass kids. It's a great fringe benefit of teaching. These two young ladies are great clarinet players, as you hear, but they were also in the color guard, so they had to learn how to spin a flag, to spin a rifle, to throw it, catch it, and do that at the high school level, and did so great, and I was so proud of them for taking that journey. So, ladies, congrats, and great job. Thank you. Oh, look at that. I didn't have to tell them. Hudson here, marched alto saxophone. And, moving and playing is not easy at first. They have the luxury of being seated tonight when you got to run around the football field with the saxophone and look like those seniors. He did a great job, so I want to recognize him. And I have one more student to recognize. New to us at Thompkins this year, sometimes things work out and you get a present. Like life just works and you're like, oh, thank you. And my present this year was Aiden. Aiden here came to us from Plaza Park. He's a phenomenal tuba player. And he was actually going to march with the Harrison Marching Band until he came here. And because of, him changing schools, that didn't quite work out. But he was set and ready to go. And we always like to recognize kids who kind of play up to the next level. So I'd like to recognize Aiden for not only that, but speaking of that activity is so great for kids. I want to do a mini commercial, and I've asked Mr. Hager, the high school director, to come down and just say a quick word about what's available at Central High School with band, because 8th graders are going to be there before you know it, and 7th graders, that's coming soon. So Mr. Hager, if you wouldn't mind coming down and saying just a quick word about the high school program.
To thank and welcome the accomplishments that helped us on the field. More of them helped us as we got through the season with some of the equipment, prop stuff. They could travel with us, and that in itself is an undertaking. And they handled it great. Our bus rides, our travel, they were awesome in every possible way, which I know was the expectation. First of all, let me just say, you guys are great tonight. Give it up. Challenges Mr. Farney has worked through. I understand that these guys that you're looking at right now have only played together since 6:30 tonight. They meet separately in classes, they don't sit nearly this close together, so their listening skills are at a high level to play as well as they are tonight. So congratulations, guys, that's awesome. We have a great program at Central I'm very proud of. The marching band is probably the most high-profile thing we do. But we have a ton of kids. We just had our high school honors audition tonight. We had several students from Central make the high school honors band program. I know a lot of these kids, they get to Central, do it as well. We have solo ensemble. We play basketball games. We have our own concert contests. We play musicals. So the musical journey does not end here at Thompkins. And I know there's a lot of things, a lot of input coming down the line, and some choices to have to make. And I try to be as selfish as I can. But I be honest, this time of year, when I see these guys, I become very selfish. And I want every one of you guys up at Central High School in the very near future to be part of the Central Bears. That's my spiel. Thank you. They're great tonight. Thank you for your support. Thank you for supporting Mr. Farney. And I give the microphone back to you.
There's one thing, student teachers. I had some early in my career and I really didn't like it. They were not good. And, I'm a pretty honest person. And I kind of swore off of it. I did get contacted this year about having a student teacher who was an EVSC graduate of Bosse High School, went to Indiana State University. And I knew him from our honors programs, and it was a solid yes, and it was a delight to have him. So I want to introduce him. Mr. Wood, could you come on down, please? So Mr. Wood is known as the nice guy, as the guy that kids will ask questions to, that will go to first. He really bonded with the students quickly, was so helpful, and did a fantastic job, and I hope to have him here in the EVSC as a colleague someday soon. So, Mr. Wood, thank you for being here. Would you like to say anything?
Yeah.
Or? Sure.
So, first of all, he didn't pay me to say anything. No, seriously, your kids are like awesome. So I did my student teaching for 8 weeks here, and now I'm at Paso High School, and I go to the middle school over there too. I love it over there, but like every day, I miss you guys. Like you guys were so much fun to have, and I think they will always hold like a special place, because as much as I have a hand in their playing, and like what they're gonna do 3 years from now, they have a hand in it. And I learned so many things that I'm gonna take away. And I got to witness like some of the best moments, and then some of the moments that like Mr. Barney suggested at our program, things like that. And I got to see like there's a way to do it. There's a way to have grit, to have grace, and to have a plan. And to stick to that and carry that out, I mean, it gives us people like this. They play awesome. And I'm so proud and grateful to have been able to do and work with these kids and just learn from them. So thank you guys so much.
I would like to thank Thompkins Middle School. I have been here now, this is my 3rd year, and it's a wonderful staff. It's truly a community, and it's a pleasure to be here. So Mrs. Hartz and Mr. Jakes and all the staff, man, I hope you appreciate and realize how great of a place this is. So I want to thank all of them for all their support. One of the things that you realize as you get older is you owe people, that helped you along the way. Many people call it standing on the shoulders of giants. And there are a couple giants here tonight that I would like to recognize. First of all, Mr. Tim Fillingham is up here, not wanting to wave, but he's going to. Mr. Fillingham, I had in middle school honors. He's been a mentor to me. He's the conductor of the Evansville Symphonic Band, which is a professional group I play in the summer. And he and his wife, Mary, both phenomenal musicians, retired music teachers, had a hand in building this great program. And here I want to thank them. Dr. David Smith, who was our superintendent and was my high school band director. He doesn't, he kind of liked to claim me. I was a percussionist, so I was a wild child. All those flute players and trumpet players were the ones that were supposed to go on and be band directors, and somehow a drummer made it to the front. Go figure, right? But all kidding aside, I do have to be careful because he is the superintendent, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking about that. But the investment he has made in our music programs is nothing short of stunning and amazing. And I hope anytime you can, please let folks know how great of a music program we have in the EBSC, and it's due in large part to his vision and his support. So I'd like us to all please thank him. Lastly, we have such a great professional community in Evansville and the EBSC, and I'm maybe save your applause to the end, but I have asked some other directors to come here tonight to listen, because I don't get to put the kids together much. So in the audience and our orchestra staff are Mr. Adam Clark from Perry Heights, Mr. Pat Strasek from Halford Park, Ms. Leslie DeVille, who runs the Spark program at West Terrace, teaches at Lodge, and I think she's taught in every building in the past couple of years. She's a traveling show. On our band staff, Mr. Noah Farmer, who is the head director at North High School, teaches the junior high, and his marching band was the second at state finals, and kind of broke the records for our EBSC bands, was kind enough to be here tonight and listen. And it's just truly a special thing to have such great teachers that will come, if I'm like, hey, on a Wednesday night, will you come listen to my middle school band, and they're there. It's amazing. So I'd like to take a second to just thank them, please. And did I leave anybody out, teachers? If I did, raise your hand. I'm sorry. That looks like we're good. Great, okay. All right, now for something fun, and then we'll let you get out of here. These kids did great with the first 3 pieces, which is what I intended for them to play tonight. So I was like, okay, let's keep going. So the next piece is written by a composer named Randall Stanford. She is a percussionist. He does a great job writing for middle school band. Kind of a neat story. He had a really small band in Arkansas, and he just had to write music for his kids, and he kept doing it, and now he's like one of the biggest middle school band composers. He wrote this piece for his high school band. It's called Adrenaline Engines. It's in a very difficult key signature. It goes really fast. It's not gonna be perfect, I'm not gonna lie to you, because we're in the learning process, But I wanted to put it out there because they were ready to move on, and I wanted to challenge them, and they've received it well. So this will be our final piece, and I'm so proud of them for continuing to push forward and learn. Students, when you are done, please remember what I need you to do is to put your instrument away correctly against the wall, music where it needs to be, come back here. If you're a percussionist, you're in charge of moving percussion stuff back to the band room, set up nicely. If you're a wind player, please take care of chairs and stands. My after-school setup crew, thank you. If you guys could make sure the orchestra stuff makes it back to the orchestra room, please, like we talked about, that would be great. And again, thank you so much for being here tonight. Our final piece is Adrenaline Engines.